Sorry? Listen, I mean, nobody will tell you exactly how it's going to be because nobody don't really know. The point is, what we know is from the data that is available. And from the data that is available, the United States economy has been steadily going down. Okay? If you look at the news, they'll tell you that it's going up. It's not true. The people whose money is going up is billionaire investors, oligarchs, people who own oil companies, stuff like that. Their profits are increasing because they just go to other countries and sell their product. Okay? I mean, you saw this. The people, the regular people, the everyday people. Okay. I'll give people a few more minutes. Hopefully I can be heard. The fan. Can y'all feel that? Y'all can feel that? Cool. I don't know what he's waiting on. I guess he had to move. I was waiting on Austin, but I guess he had to. I think he was parked in front of the mailbox. Okay, so I'll let you guys know. Let's just get started now. trying to get in contact with Hebrew Israelite congregations who have already managed to build and maintain communities, right? So obviously buying land, planting on gardens and stuff, and trying to basically get prepared for when that time comes. And a lot of them really haven't been able to get back with me. I've been emailing, trying to get to them through their channels and whatnot. But I managed to get in contact with one of the more successful ones from Straightway Ministries. And they have multiple congregations all around the United States. But the elder who I spoke with is in Tennessee. So I spoke to the brothers. I tried to get in contact with Los. I'm not sure if he was able to see. Huh? Okay. In any case, we're at the point now where we've been wasting a lot of time, if I'm going to be quite frank. Okay. At any given moment, at any given time, this country's stability and structure is going to collapse. And all of us are like sitting ducks in the middle of it. Okay? Because we're separate in terms of mentality, spirit, understanding, but we are literally in the middle of this society in terms of physically. Okay. I mentioned this before last week, and I think the week before that this country is on the brink of war, while at the same time an economic collapse. And that means, especially if those things that happen simultaneously, that this country, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to revert back to their baseline human nature aspects, which is to take from other people, steal, rob, kill, etc., etc. Okay? That is the whole point of why we go to the gun range to practice. It's the whole point of why we try to plant our own goods so that we can have our own food. Because I can tell you right now, every supermarket is gone, everything, within one day. Within a couple of hours, it's done. Even if you have a few things that you've been stocking up on, food, water, etc., if you don't have a way to sustain it, meaning reproduce it over time, it don't matter how much you stock up on. You just have a matter of time that you're buying. You're just stalling. You have a slower death, in essence. Okay? We obviously have not been preparing at all whatsoever, and it's getting closer and closer to that point. Now it's more obvious. I've been seeing this, but now more people are starting to see it. Okay? We don't have no land. We know how to grow a little stuff, whatever. But we're not stockpiling on anything. So this is the reason why I've been trying to contact these brothers around the country who have already successfully managed to do what it is that we're trying to do now. Now, with that being said, the obvious objective would be move out of the cities, okay, as far away as possible. But there's many ways to get to that one objective, okay? Many ways. There's plenty of ways. In terms of what I was told by this particular elder, the two community blueprints that he gave me was the first one, their leader just purchased land himself Started with 13 acres. Over time, they acquired the surrounding land from their neighbors, etc., etc. Okay. But the more applicable uh, blueprint that he gave me was that in Kentucky, they had about 15 brothers who all lived under one household. Okay. As opposed to them all paying rent individually, other expenses individually, they just lived together. Right? Now, in terms of the objective, it allows you to get to your objective a lot sooner because land is expensive, property taxes are expensive, equipment is expensive. Being able to do all the things that you would need to do to maintain anything like that, it's going to take a lot of resources, a lot of time, energy, effort, work, everything like that. So they had to really buy in, okay? But nevertheless, they were able to achieve that quicker because they were working together. Obviously, their expenses were diminished precipitously, but that was at the cost of obviously their privacy, comfort, and whatever else you could have pride in, to be honest with you. But they was able to make it work. Now, I'm just going to be quite frank. We either take a chance and do something, come up with a plan of action to get somewhere, or we can continue to go down the same route and be unprepared. I mean, and to be honest with you, we'll just be like the examples in the scriptures. There's a reason why Christ talks about the man who, had he would have known that the thief would have came a particular night, he would have been up watching. I mentioned my car got broken into. You don't think if I would have known that somebody was going to break in my car this particular night, I would have been out there? I would have been out there waiting for him. The point is, you're not going to know. So the objective is to prepare while you have time, not to think that you have more time than you actually have and be unprepared. Again, if something happens today or tomorrow, I'm just going to let all of y'all know right now, all of us are there. You stockpile on water, even if you stockpile on water, somebody come to your house, demand the water, you're going to give them the water. You're not going to die over water. I promise you, none of you are going to die over water. You're going to give up your water and then you're going to be thirsty. You're going to give up your food and then you're going to be hungry. You're going to give up your guns and then you're going to be weaponless. We don't have any cohesiveness. I talked to the brothers about this the other day. Some of you know this, and I'll mention it again tonight. Oh, let me say that too. Tonight, there's some brothers who I've called, who I know. Some of them have been here very seldomly. You've seen some of y'all have seen them. Some of them have not been here at all. I called them because many of them speak to me about their own individual situations privately, okay? Which is just more confirmation that we've been bullshitting and wasting time. Many of these brothers are either struggling or see what's going on and are not preparing. Kind of like myself, us, okay? So I called a meeting with them tonight at 6 after service is done to see if they would be willing to implement or talk about implementing a plan of action, doing something in order to get out of their situation. So if any of you are wanting to sit in on that, you're more than welcome. Okay? that's the gist of it. I think I'm missing anything. Yeah, I think I pretty much said everything. I think I pretty much said everything as far as an introduction. So today is really gonna be a day to discuss that. Okay. So if anybody has any questions or comments, concerns, please bring them forth now. I do not care if you think it's irrelevant or not. It needs to be brought up. Yes, ma'am. Of course. Of course. Of course. I scheduled it for 6 because I know most of them don't attend service like that. And some of them, based off of the availability, they wouldn't be available until later on today. So I scheduled it for 6. Some, like Sean, like Brother Andre, is out of town. So I set up a Zoom link too for those who can't make it physically. Oh, you need him. My bad. Watch your watch your shoe. So, again, does that answer your question, though, sister? Before, I know the suggestion that I was going to give to some of the brothers is we need to stop playing around. I don't even know how I didn't think of this, by the way, but I've seen Mexicans, East Indians, Iranians, people from other countries do this all the time. They come to this country, they live together in a household for a time, and then they branch off. So I was going to suggest that to the brothers, because a lot of them are probably more willing to do something like that. But in essence, that's what I was going to suggest. That way we can build up an income to then do it. Like I said, me personally, I do have a meeting with the USDA loan officer Wednesday. There's an incentive for the government to give out loans to young farmers. So I do plan on getting that. That's the whole reason why I've been building up my credit for that purpose. But that's just an option. That's why I'm calling this, so we can take suggestions, because we're not prepared at all whatsoever. Okay, you think it's hard now? No, there's no plan. That's the point of the meeting. The point of the meeting is to discuss a plan. Now, there are blueprints, there are suggestions that I have, because I've already been thinking about this for a long time, me personally, but that's the point of having it, so that something can be agreed upon as a collective. Okay, to be honest with you, somebody might say we just need to go to a congregation that already have some land and just move with them. But then that means that you have to be okay with accepting whatever their terms are and all the other stuff. Right? That might be a suggestion. It just depends. But that is when people start to hold back off stuff. Look, if that's a thing, that's just going to be a problem that somebody has. But I've already spoken to certain brothers who have certain issues. At the end of the day, you can have an issue with whatever. But the point is, don't let the issue make it to where you continue to be unprepared. Right? Yes. So he gave me the blueprint that I just mentioned. They bought land in Tennessee. Well, their pastor bought land in Tennessee. Pastor Dow, he bought land in Tennessee. Okay. He bought 13 acres. He did that by himself. When he did that, after a couple of years, they purchased the land from their neighbors. And they expanded. They now have 101. Okay? 101 acres, yes. But they have a Kentucky location. And Straightway is not the only people I called. Okay? They're just the only ones that got back on it. They have another location in Kentucky where in their Kentucky location, like I mentioned, there wasn't one person that did anything. They got 15 brothers to live in one household. Okay? I'm sure some of them probably had wives and children, I don't know. But there was 15 of them, and they lived together. They all worked, obviously, and they put their money in a pot or whatever you want to call it, an account. And then from there, they were able to get the resources necessary to buy 75 acres of land. Now, acres of land cost money, especially if, depending on, what's on it, all that other stuff. Nevertheless, that ain't the problem. You could look at, scour whatever type of land is needed, all that, but if you don't have the funds necessary to get the land in the first place, it don't even make no sense to be shopping. Okay? So they built the resources first, and that took them about 6 to 8 months. Now you gotta think, if that took them 6 to 8 months, that means they were not bullshit. They obviously came up with terms and stipulations where everything was put on the table. You pay if you got a 5-bedroom house, because that's what they had, a 5-bedroom. People was probably sleeping on the floor, catching the couch, having to share a bathroom. All the other junk is that is nothing. Okay, that's a pride thing. If somebody had an issue with that, that's just a pride thing. That's a sacrifice necessary for what they had to do. So in essence, it might have been what? I don't know how much a 5-bedroom house is in Kentucky. Let's just say it was $3,000. You take that and you divide that by what? 15 people? That's $200 a month. That means on your job, however much you're making every week, every 2 weeks, every month, they putting all of that in there. All of that is going in the pot, and they was able to expand it up until about, he said 6 to 8 months, but it was more like 8 months. Okay. They was able to buy 75 acres of land. Now, 75 acres of land is a lot. It's a lot of land. More than enough to have cattle, grow a garden, have stockpiles, room for stockpiles, stock up on gas, diesel, all that. But that is a sacrifice that I'm honestly, to be quite frank with you, not sure how many people are willing to make. Because then, but you know what? That don't even matter. The point is, that's why I call it a meeting. Okay? To discuss that. And if that is a issue, it's not going to work. Because it's just not going to work. But that was the two blueprints that they gave. Right there, exactly. But there's many ways to get to that point. Exactly. Nothing else matters. All the other stuff about logistics, trailers, staying in tents. You gotta get to the first objective first, which is acquiring land. Period. That is the first thing that needs to happen. I'm sorry? Look, well, when you think about this logistically, it doesn't really matter, to be quite frank, but at the same time, there's things that have to be accessible. Like, okay, people have to know how to get there, or to be in range enough from where it's outside of a densely populated area, but it's not too far to where people can't get to. When I say people, I'm talking about any of us who may not have bought into the plan. And now, because I'm going to just be quite frank with you, there are brothers I know right now who I know have too much pride for something like that. But please believe, when that time comes, desperation will hit. And so, but to be honest with you, if I'm going to be quite frank, you nor anyone else have a choice. Now you can choose to keep your pride and whatever. Now, okay, I can guarantee you, this whole neighborhood won't last. If something like that happened, I mean, you got a gun, you got about 50 rounds, but you're not prepared, not even close. And I would say that to any one of you. Your pride does not matter. But I know that's why the scriptures say pride comes before destruction and the haughty spirit before a fall. That's okay. Keep your pride. Just remember it as your destruction is upon you. You have every right to make your decision. We have been reading these scriptures for over 4 years now, and we've seen that there is no gray area, there is no in between. either how to code, you either choose blessings or curses, life or death, keeping the commandments or forsaking them. You either have pride or you don't. You have every right to choose whatever option you want to choose. But you have every right to receive those consequences that come from those said actions. It is what it is. Now, again, I called the meeting because everybody in here and everybody who I've communicated with claim to adhere to the principles in that word. Claim. Okay? It is one thing to claim something, it is another thing to live by it. We have been living by it to an extent, but from the aspect of being separate, coming out of Babylon, physically, we haven't been living by it. We are literally right in it. Me personally, I don't have time for foolishness. When I say foolishness, I'm talking about pride. You can mention it, but I'll just let you know, to be quite honest, it's not going to work. Okay? It's not going to work. I had a discussion with a brother yesterday. His main concern was that. More than willing to move in, buy in, build our resources. He knows that some of the brothers who I've contacted have pride. It is what it is. That's not going to work, bro. It's not. But that is the main goal right now. Acquiring land. Nobody else ain't got no input? Yes, ma'am. Obviously. So that is a good question. As far as how much money need to be accumulated, I would not put a limit on it. That depends on how many people are buying in. So if we have land, what's going to happen once it's gotten? Obviously, we're going to move on. That entails living space, having area to grow our crops. If we decide to have cattle, the pasture for the cattle, all that has to be taken into consideration when getting land, because we have to have enough crops to be able to feed everyone. We have to have enough cattle to be able to feed everyone, etc. We have to have space to put homes, whatnot. So if, let's just say it's just, what is this? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let's just call it 15 people. I would say at least 10. At least. Exactly. And so it has to be unrestricted. The land has to be unrestricted, because if it's not unrestricted, then that means the government can tell you you can't plant, you can't do this, you can't do that. So the land automatically has to be unrestricted. Now, with buying land, there's a portion of the land that may be ready for harvesting crops, pasteurizing, etc. And if it's not, we just would have to have a tractor with a bush hog, tillers, stuff like that, to be able to make it ready for something like that. If it have trees, it's a totally another subject, because then trees got to be cut down, the roots got to be uprooted. That's a totally different. When I say 10 acres, I'm talking about 10 acres of land ready to be pasteurized, put crops on it, to where, because that is a lot of work, okay? That's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work, and that's going to turn. I mean, to be quite frank, true. That's going to make brothers have to be men. You don't even have a choice at that point. But 10 acres pasteurized land. It can't be 7 and then 3 acres of it is trees, which that wouldn't happen anyway. But you get my point. Correct. Or if it's not ready, it just needs to be cut, tilled, stuff like that. But that's still considered ready to go. Unrestricted. Yeah. Because the government, so like for example, y'all have a house in Baker, right? I'm not sure what your HOA, y'all rules are in that neighborhood, but your HOA can stipulate that you can't grow plants in the yard. Okay? They can say that. Because it's regulated, it's restricted land. So if you purchase land, and then on top of it, if it is restricted land, then they can tell you how to align pipes. So like if we want to have a sewage system, or if we wanted to run power from the grid to the land, all of that can be done with unrestricted land. But if it's restricted, there are certain regulations that we would have to follow in accordance with whatever parish that land is in. That is just completely unacceptable. Have to be unrestricted. Well, one group does do that. Okay, one group does do that. So they have solar panels where they, you know how solar panels work, extract sun rays to use for energy, right? So that's definitely something that we need to look into. Okay, but like I said, that doesn't matter till the land is required. Stuff like that. Whether we living in tents or trailers, I don't give. I do not care. I will stay in a tent until everything is done. Me personally, I do not care. But that's my point, right? That's my point. So these things that you're talking about is okay. That's later. So that's why when you brought up the funds part, I would not put a limit on the funds, because the funds is not just to buy land. The funds would be to get the other logistical needs. Because obviously the point of getting land is not just to get it and to be done. The point of the land is to be able to use it to invest in certain things, like obviously tractor need to be bought, trailers, all these other things that we're talking about, solar panels, all that's going to come later. But that there has to be a continual contribution for all that to take place. Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, the cash out is not going to work. That's not. That could be hacked. I'm sorry. Right. Well, we still talking about it now. That's wrong. We're not yet. Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely. Let me read it for the people on the live, because I'm not sure if they can quite hear y'all too good. You said Proverbs 24 and what? Proverbs 24 and 27 in the New International Version. I'm sorry? Proverbs 24, chapter 24, verse 27 in the New International Version. It says, put your outdoor work in order and get your fields ready. And after that, build your house. Right, so that's the whole point of what we're talking about. Excuse me. All the other stuff, the logistical needs come later. The land is the beginning. The land is the beginning of everything. The land is the beginning of everything. So, without the land, you can't have crops, you can't have cattle, you can't have a house to build upon, you can't have anything. Y'all get the point. The ESV says, prepare your work outside, get everything ready for yourself in the field, and after that, build your house. All these things are making the same point. So we have to have our priorities in line. Okay? What are our priorities as humans? You need food, water, and shelter. Food, water, shelter. How long can we survive without water? About 3 days, right? 3 days without water. So that means when we get this land, we either have to have some water brought with us as a way to stall until the wells come. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. Have you ever fasted for 3 days? Have you ever fasted for 3 days? I'm sure you fasted, but anyway, yeah, that's one of the reasons why the men of Nineveh, when they did fasting in the Bible, see they didn't do fasting like we have today, where people talk about I'm fasting during the daylight hours, but I'm not fasting at nighttime. They didn't do that. Okay. They fasted 24 hours. Now there are times where they may have fasted for less than a day, but the point is, whenever they did fast like that, like for example, the men of Nineveh, when they fasted 3 days and 3 nights, or in the book of Esther, when they fasted 3 days and 3 nights, the reason why they only could do that is because they would not be able to survive a 4th day without water. That's called dry fasting. Okay? Wouldn't be able to do it. I'm sorry. So the Cash App, the Cash App, I would not use that because the Cash App has been hacked multiple times. This will have to be a secure, regulated by FINRA, regulated by the SEC. It have to be secure. So what that means is, like I said before, that would either have to go in a person's name using a social security number or an entity's name using an EIN. No way around it. There's no way you can't set up an account that is regulated, that is secure, without. Now we can take the chance of using the Cash App. Okay. Take the chance of using the Cash App. But even then, Cash App is still regulated to a degree as far as if you send more than, is it $600 or something? They're going to regulate that anyway. You just have more risk in terms of people being able to hack it. I've seen multiple people whose Cash Apps were hacked. They then lost their money. You lose your money, Cash App is not going to reimburse you the money. So I would definitely not want anybody to be contributing to something just for it to be stolen from somebody. Okay. So again, you got one or two options. You either gonna set up in a social security number, which is gonna attach to a person's name, or EIN, which is going to be attached to a business entity, whether that is a nonprofit, a foundation, a company, whatever. It's one of those. So what? You gotta do a lot of stuff to do anything, whether that's a business, a foundation. You gotta. So what you have to do, if it was a nonprofit, I'm just letting you know. If it was a nonprofit, you have to have board, bylaws, charter, uh, mission statement, documentation. You gotta list it as, what is it for? Is it charitable? Is it religious? Right? You know how we talk about these congregations who have 501c3s? Okay? So 501c3 is a tax exemption code, and that's just the code. So 501c3 basically means that the organization that this group is attached to has tax exempt status. So when they get donations that are 600 or above, the government let it slide. Okay? That is at the trade-off of regulations. You understand? Now, the trade-off of regulations is dependent upon how you list the nonprofit. So if you list it as a charitable organization, there are regulations for charitable organizations. If you list it as a religious organization, there are regulations for religious organizations. This concept is really what's being talked about whenever people mention 501c3. Most people do not understand in our community, in the Hebrew Israelite community, what a 501c3 is. They just know that some negative thing is behind it. Well, the negative aspect is simply when you register your group as a religious institution, there are regulations that come with that, which one is non-discrimination, obviously speaking against the government, stuff like that. I don't know the list, you can pull it up, it's documented, everything is on there. And those things can affect one's teaching, which is why people say the government is running the organization, because the government stipulates in that. That's just part of it. It's part of the process. Now, we don't have to list that organization as a religious institution, but at the same time, that has to be, it has to be either a social security number or EIN to set up an account. Okay. EIN stands for Employer Identification Number. That is basically a social security number for a non-entity. So, Employer Identification Number. Okay. Employer Identification Number. So an EIN doesn't have to be under an individual's name. It can be under an entity. I don't care, me personally. So yours is under a business, right? So if it's under a business, then it will have to align. All the funds have to align with what the business is doing. So you're talking about your soap, right? So now, I'm going to show you why. When we start sending your account money, in order to get tax exempt status, you have to meet the requirements, right? So your business is not registered as a charitable organization. It's not listed as a nonprofit organization. It's not listed as nothing as far as us giving you money, right? Or giving the entity money. So what's going to happen is they're going to come in and they're going to regulate, okay, why you get all this money, and it'll end up being taxed, right? Now we can do that. We could do that. Right? I'm just telling you what would happen. business, you can keep it, but you would have to make another one because once it's made, it's like you can't change it. You have to. You could add to it possibly. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I'm not sure. You couldn't make it. You couldn't change that part. I know. Yeah, that's you have a business, but as far as adding, you probably could do that. That could. I don't know about that. I just know the baseline things to explain to you guys to show y'all the options. Like I said, I definitely look into that to see if you can. And I'm gonna look into it too. But you already have an EIN. You don't need to change it. Anybody else in here have a business? An EIN? Okay. So, I mean, well, that's my point because I have an EIN, but my EIN is for a farm, right? So when I set up my account to Chase, they ask for your articles of declaration that the Secretary of State sends you when you open up a business. And they specifically ask you, what is this account for this entity being opened for? They want to know the industry and all that. So I had to tell them agricultural, okay? So in that process, that's what I mean when I say it would have to be different because if money is being sent to the same account from random individuals, these are not individuals that you're doing business with. Like I'm not getting money from him for seeds, from her for tractor supplies, I'm just getting paid. They're going to look at that, and that could be cause or grounds for the government to come in and, in essence, do whatever. I don't know what all they could do, honestly, to be quite frank with you. But how you gonna know? How would you know what money is for this? I mean, yeah, I know. I mean, you could, but in that case, we just if we're talking about that, then we just open a new one for the group. Correct, but
But that money would still be a taxable property to us because it wasn't but the guy does actually close in the commission, but some banks won't be to won't be. And then you're not, because if you're not,
Yeah, so they're not using their social security card. They're using, their social security number. They're using the EIN, and that way, if they, because that's like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that's like legal logic. Because what they're trying to do is, instead of like if they lose their rent, or they don't pay their rent, or they don't pay their credit card, instead of it affecting their credit score, it'll affect the entity, and you could just dismiss the entity and open up another entity. Whereas you can't dismiss your social. So that's like a way to get out of as on another name. That depends because when you talk about passing, yeah, when it comes to like who's getting what and stuff like that, a simple will take care of stuff like that. People just don't, if I die and I say I'm gonna leave X, Y, Z to A, B, and C, and that document is notarized, signed before witnesses, and it's presented upon the death of the decedent, that's how the courts are going to do it.
Oh, so it wouldn't matter. So, would they still
Probate?
Yeah.
There's no probate when you have a will. There's only a probate when you don't have a will, and then the court is going to use the default. And the default is based off Napoleon law. So, for example, let's say you and Los are married, right? And you have Amaya, a kid, and a kid has your granddaughter. You say, your house right now is split between you and Los 50-50 if you die right now. Los has his half, you have your half. Okay? Whether you bought it legally married, before you was legally married, if you bought it before you was legally married, then the price of the house, whatever it was, obviously it's not the same price then. So whatever it has appreciated, the difference is then split from the appreciation. If you wanted to, in essence, leave the house, your half of the house, to a kid and mine, or let's say you don't have a will, that's what the state is going to do anyway. Because the state is under Napoleonic French Spain law. Okay, that's what we're under. That's called civil law. Every other state in this country is under common law. So in the other states, it probably will go to, you'll just go to Los. But yours is going to go to your children, unless stated otherwise. Now, how does that work if you die and they just live with, now y'all could set it up to where they just live together, obviously that probably would happen. But every family is not, there's always some problems, somebody died, somebody wants this, somebody wants that, conflict arises, arguments. It is what it is. So how does that work? Well, in essence, either Los could sell his portion and they could have the house, or they would be what is called naked owners, meaning they own the house, but they don't have right to do certain things within the house. Los would still have that. All of that is just legal talk. You can bypass all of that stuff if you simply have a will in place that has been notarized before witnesses. Period. The EIN is probably a way you can do that too, but the simpler way is to just write out how you want things to be distributed, come to an agreement with all the parties that are, involved in it, and then have it easily accessible. When whenever, like, plat it on the wall. Have a couple other copies. Give multiple people copies, just in case somebody try to do some nefarious stuff and sabotage the will. You got a copy with this one. This one got a copy. That one got a copy. Nobody who would not have your best interest has a copy of the will. Therefore, it can be implemented in the court of law. Period. It's the only way that's the best way to do that. And I'm sure that's going to come up probably if something like that does happen when we get a community where if we are putting the interest into the community, leaving assets or whatever for the purpose of the betterment of the community. I'm sure that probably happens. So that's something that come up too. But again, all that, I really don't want to say that's later because that's kind of important. But
I think that was a great idea. She's going to be
what? The what?
okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we can just take this and put the money in there. That way, we don't have to
Oh, you talking about cash? You talking about just throwing? Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. Well, you're still gonna have to worry about that because even if we accumulate cash, when you go to buy, okay. No, you wouldn't have to do that. My point is whenever it's being purchased, it will be purchased under an entity. Correct. So. Well, let me tell you why that's a problem. I'm going to just tell you because you may not be realizing this, but let me show you the issue that people might have with that. That's perfect. Yeah, no, we're in the meeting now. I'm starting now. This is what we're talking about. I'm not talking about nothing else. We don't have time for this. I'm gonna get you. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, let me repeat it. She's saying, why don't we just use cash? Okay, put the cash money in a literal, actual pot as opposed to starting an account. And then when it's time to buy land, and just use the cash. Okay, that was her point, right? Instead of okay. Excuse me. The point is, even once the land is purchased, it still is going to be purchased in the name of a social number, social security number, or an EIN. Now, let me discuss to you the problems. Okay. If there's no EIN, it has to be under a person's name. At that point, what person is that? And then everybody else who is not that person has to do two things. One, be okay with accepting that. And they have to trust that that person is going to serve the interests of the others. Okay? Now, me personally, I don't think people got that in. I'm just going to be quite frank. That's why the EIN to me is probably the best route. But let's just say that was the case. We're putting up the money. We got a whole wad of cash, whatever it is, whatever. And we're using that to buy land. It still has to be purchased in something's name, whether that's a person or an entity. That's the thing. So if a decision is made, well, we're going to purchase it under an entity's name, then all this stuff that we're talking about is relevant to the discussion because then we're going to have to go through the process of initiating. Or if we do it under a person's name, then that would probably be easier, but at the same time, that would require a trust factor with the rest of the group. Because what you're doing is you're putting power in the hands of one individual. Okay? Does that make sense? Make sense? So that's a great idea. When it's time to buy, let's say at that time we have the money, and then we decide we're gonna do an EIN. But then now we got to go through the process of doing the EIN. We could have did the process while building the money. You see what I'm saying? So now we wasting more time. That's why something like that has to be discussed now because that is part of the process of getting the land. I'm sorry. What you said? Well, that decision, we still have to. We could get like an idea. You have an extension? Yes, ma'am. Correct. Because so the thing with that is every parish is required by the federal government. Oh, no. I said I mentioned restricted. So when I say restricted, I'm talking about what you can do once you buy the land. Okay, when we're talking about purchasing, there's something in legal terms called public records doctrine, which basically every house, every parcel of land, everything that anybody can own in this country on the land is required to be under public records doctrine. Period. Your house that you live in, y'all house that y'all live in, any house that anybody live in is what it's called. It's under public records doctrine. So, yeah, that's what it's called, public records doctrine. You can look that up. And what that basically means is the parish that a house or land is located in, there's a description of where that land is at, how much land is in it, the borders, what you saying? The size, everything. That is, no one can get around it. Okay? When I say it has to be unrestricted, I'm talking about once the land is required or acquired, they can then stipulate what is done on it. So for example, just use the house that you live in. The house that you live in, you can go right there to what parish is Baker in? That's West Baton or East Baton Rouge? Huh? East Baton Rouge. Okay. East Baton Rouge Clerk of Court has a description of the house that y'all live in right now. It'll have the names of the owners. Anybody can look this up. Whoever notarized those documents has the names of whoever owns that house right now. I can go look it up if I want to. Right? I probably have to pay for it, but anybody can look that up. When I say unrestricted, I mean once the house is acquired, even after the public records, they can stipulate to you, you cannot grow things on the land, you cannot have pipes that go this route, stuff like that. Those are little details that go into it. Yeah. Oh yeah. That's a great example because when we
search out land, it actually tell you what zone you in, what's the property in that zone. You can put a house there, you can put a trailer there, if you can go this, you go. All that is listed in the property description at the time you look at it because it tells you what you're trying to do versus what you can do in the purchase. So if you look up land, it actually tells you those things. Yeah, the restrictions is still being able to tell you what you can and cannot do on your property once you purchase.
and restrictions are not limited. So that means that they can say no burning today, and you can think that you can grow crops, but then some new law come into place, and then they say, well, now you can't grow crops, so you have to cut down all your crops. That's the point of it. When it's unrestricted, it's just unrestricted. Okay? And unrestricted land, most of the time, land that's restricted is within like densely populated areas. So the whole idea would be to move away from that for the purpose of safety. Is she okay? She ain't had her hair. Seems good to me. But the whole point of moving away from the densely populated area is to get away from that, alongside of the fact that most areas in rural places are typically unrestricted. Most of the time, if it's a land that there's a major Louisiana highway running next to it, or something like that, or like it's in a neighborhood where they're planning on developing and building multiple houses within it, that's when land becomes restricted.
I understand. They still have purpose.
Yes, they're gonna always have it. There's no getting around. There's no getting around. Now, are you talking about from a safety standpoint, right? Right. Now, that's where tonight is supposed to come in. Because what did you mention to me, Gabe? Can you tell everybody what you mentioned to me when I called you? About the guns.
So we have to stop picking zoning laws, or what about like auction? We have to stop up on it.
Right.
That's
So I was asked when I spoke with Gabe, should we purchase guns now, or should we focus on getting the land? Right? Now, to be honest, it really don't matter. But I mentioned that the land is the most important thing, because the goal is to move out. Moving out is to protect yourself against the citizens. It's not the government that you're going to have to worry about living in a densely populated area. You won't have to worry about the government. The government will be focused on trying to get its structure back in place. It's the rest of the people who don't have food, water, shelter, whatever, that you'll have to worry about. Now that means you're going to run across people who may be skilled, and you may run across some people who are not skilled at all. You don't know that. That is solely based off of chance and whatever. In terms of a rural area, can the quote-unquote U.S. government come and send people out to do X, Y, Z? Yes, they could. They would probably send units, battalions, bands, whatever. I don't know if they would actually do that, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. So what that means is brothers have to be ready to defend themselves, and there needs to be escape ways for the rest of the people. Okay? So please believe if anything that any of you guys can mention, I have already thought about. Okay? Anything that any of you could mention, I promise you I have already thought about, for the most part. One thing that I mentioned that I will mention again to the brothers tonight is we have no cohesiveness whatsoever. None of us knows what it's like to get shot at in high intensity fire. Okay? And I mentioned this to, didn't I mention this to you, Gabe? Yeah, I mentioned this to you. Let's say we in this building right now, and somebody come and they shoot up this house, okay? Y'all probably go to the back, okay? What are we gonna do? Even if you had a gun, you have to maintain a level of composure being shot at to then defend yourself. We don't have no training. On top of that, we don't have cohesion, being able to work as a unit. When you go to the military, one of the things that they do is they bond with each other. Those men are forced to bond with each other. They don't have a choice, because that bond is going to build a level of chemistry so that when you do go out on the battlefield, they can work as a unit. You know this one's weaknesses, this one's strengths. You know who's better here, who's better there, and then you can set up a strategy and a plan to go about how you're going to defend yourself against such a threat. Okay? All these things have to be thought about. We have no training. Some of us don't even have guns. Some of us don't even know how to use a gun. Some of us don't know how to load a gun, fire a gun, what bullet go in what, how you know when you're looking at a different round. Nothing. We don't have that. That is something that needs to be built up. It's not just food and water that needs to be stockpiled on. We need to stockpile on diesel, gas, weapons, plans of action, not just one plan, plans, if something like that was to happen. Escape routes, stuff like that. This is what I mean when I say we are so far beyond the point that it needs to be. The point is not even funny. But yes, to answer your question, will that happen? We don't know if that'll happen.
Well, I was just asking that, but
To be honest, if you're expecting brothers to put guns in sisters' hand for y'all to be fighting, we got some pathetic ass brothers. I'm just gonna be quite frank with you.
I wasn't talking about that. I ain't even gonna go.
Yeah.
I'm just asking as far as because I understood strictly and I understood that process of getting the unrestricted land. I was just trying to get
I just want to make it clear. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Okay, we are not doing that. We're not doing that. The whole idea of men and women having their own respective roles, everybody need to know their role and play it. If somebody is not willing to play their role, then you just have to go. Okay. The role of women is not okay. If something happened where you're literally put in a position. You have a gun and you know how to use it. You know how to use it just in case. Worst case scenario type of situation. Not to say you're about to go out here in a freaking dress shooting at people. It's not happening. Okay? It's not happening. You need to know how to have a gun, know how to use a gun for literally worst case scenario standards. That is why y'all do what y'all do, just to make that 100% clear. You see what I'm getting at? I know. But at the same time, the point is, if something like that was to happen, there needs to be two things. A strategy on how we're going to defend something for the brothers to figure out, as well as a strategy on just in case we don't defend, an escape plan. Okay? All that is after land is acquired. But just understand that it will need to be done. Okay, so the Social Security, everyone in here has a Social Security. You were given one at birth. This is what you purchased, whatever you purchase, and it's attached to your credit, etc., etc. With that being said, whenever you buy anything, whether it's a car, a house, land, that purchase is going to be attached to Social Security, right? And this is to monitor any loans that you may have, any debts, how well you pay off your bills, etc., etc. So when the land is purchased, it can be purchased in someone's name, in essence. Okay. This is almost as if you or I had enough money to go and buy land ourselves. We could go and do that, and it would be a lot easier, okay, than doing it with EIN. But we not just this. This is not just me or you buying land. This would be us buying land for a group, right? That's not to say that it couldn't be bought in one person's land, because it could be. The thing is, whoever that one person is would have to be entrusted to do what is best for the group as a whole, period. Okay? This could not be a power-driven person, to be quite frank. Because it's not just this person, it's everybody has a stake in this. And so everyone else who is not this one person has to trust this one person to do it. Okay? That's one option. The EIN is an option for people who may not trust it going to one person. Okay, that would give, I guess, more, what do you call it? Comfort, I guess, in the decision to do whatever we're going to do. Because it's not in a person's name, it's an entity's name. At the same time, though, an entity has to have individuals to structure it. So, if we really want to go there, that mindset in and of itself is wrong in the first place. Because we have to be operating in the spirit when we do this. Solely in the spirit. You cannot be operating in the flesh. And if you have not been practicing that on your own time, these things are going to pop up. And what is going to happen? The same thing that happens in Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3, verse 23. An evil suspicion overthrow your judgment. An evil suspicion. Wait, what is this person going to do? Are everybody else going to pitch in? Is this one going to... An evil suspicion overthrow the judgment. It won't work. So, but those are the two options. That's it. Some person could do it. Like I said, it'd probably be a lot easier. You don't have to have a charter, mission statement, all that. Register for the whatever. One person could do it. Or an EIN could do it. But then, depending on how we structure it, couldn't be a religious organization because that would make us no different from anybody else or churches. Okay, so 3 off the top is a business. Okay. So like any business, I have a business. Sister Nama has a business, right? Business, it don't matter what you're selling. You're just selling something for money. Okay? That'll be taxed by the government. Excuse me. That's the first thing. Business. The second thing is a non-profit organization. A non-profit organization does not receive money through trade and commerce. A non-profit receives donations from people. That's how they make an income. The last one, after that, is a foundation. Okay? Last one is a foundation. All of these things should be looked up at your convenience. A foundation works similarly to a nonprofit, but typically when people start foundations, they're usually rich, and foundations usually issue out donations to other nonprofits. Okay, you don't have to do that, but a foundation works similarly to a nonprofit, wherein correct. Nonprofits usually don't donate. Nonprofits receive donations. Foundations receive donations and give donations, in essence.
And the foundations don't have stipulations.
All of them have stipulations. Well, again, I don't care. That's a decision for that everybody need to have input in. So again, that's why we have this conversation. Me personally, it don't matter. Absolutely. That's why I'm giving, because all of these things you all should, because some of these things some of y'all may not have heard of. Look them up, do your research, see what it is. But please be quick. We've already been wasting much precious time. Okay? So, but make sure you look those up. All three foundations, nonprofits, or businesses. You could just skip the business one because it's not going to be a business. Um, it's really the foundation or the nonprofit is the ones to really look up. Those two have different regulations. You can look into them, et cetera, et cetera. Okay? That entity would have to have an EIN. And when it obtains an EIN, that is when we could purchase the land in the name of the organization using the EIN number. In the same way, if it was purchased with a person, it would be purchased in the name of that person using that person's social security number. Same concept. One is a person, one is an entity. Anybody want a water? One? Just one? You got some, bro? to go in now and later decide to switch up. Okay? What I'm asking you is, how do you prevent that from happening? Just simply saying, don't invite them.
No, I'm not saying, I didn't say don't invite them. I said the only way to prevent that would be not to have them here. But you can invite them if you want, you're a grown man.
Well, listen what I'm saying, bro. I don't think you understand what I'm saying. Let's say us three, we move in together, right? Okay. And I decide to say, you know what, I'm not buying into this no more. Okay? Do y'all two have to stop what y'all doing and what y'all building towards just because I got pride?
That's a good question. Our capabilities might be the same as yours.
Who cares? That's gonna stop y'all two. But is that gonna stop y'all two?
You said the example was if somebody had the funds,
Me, us three, no.
just us three.
It's me, you, and him.
No, it shouldn't. We in the same damn predicament. So,
Okay, well, fuck it. That's
in
my
that
point.
case, no.
If that's the case, me leaving, regardless of what he have, what you have, and what I have, doesn't have to stop me. You understand my point? And any contributions that I gave while I was bought in, if I then decide to leave, at that point you just gotta go. It's no takesies backs and all that other stuff. If I decide I'm not buying in no more, then I'm just gonna not buy in no more. But they don't have to stop y'all two.
That's fair.
You see my point?
Yeah, that's my point. That's why I've already started, just like you've already started. And that's why a lot of stuff that had to be discussed as far as NDAs, contracts, all that had to be spoken about. All of it. They got to be right. Just like everything else was. Like, those writing, those documents that folks had to sign. It's not just verbal agreements going on. Anybody can say anything. It's not on paper.
What should be on paper?
If you're gonna be committed to it, then you gotta do your part.
And if you decide to leave, then whatever you
And
come.
whatever you contributed is for the land. It's for the people there. You can't just
Okay. That has to be what? Of course, that's my. Why you think I'm at? Why you think I'm asking a question? Why you think I'm that's why I asked you a question. Because here's how you win on both sides. You don't keep the pride to not let them in. But you protect yourself if they decide to leave. You understand? If you say to a brother, I'm not even about to give you the chance to mess over me because you done it already. I'm not going to give you the chance to do it again. You could have to speak to that, to the Most High, if something happened to this man and he's changed from that. You understand? But at the same time, if you wanting to protect yourself, something like that, you don't think I done already thought about that shit already?
So when you spoke to Cardell, what he said?
Man, look, we're gonna talk about all that when Cardell get here. Cardell can tell you. I'm sorry. Cardell can tell you what he said.
We've already kind of told me his biggest thing was it's like why Zeph wanted to start something brand new when him and I have already broken ground on a whole bunch of stuff.
Who said we starting something brand new?
I just said we would have to create a whole other entity.
I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, that's why I've been quiet, because I was just listening, but most of what we've been saying would be acquiring new land under a new EIN, et cetera, et cetera. What I'm saying is, this brother already got me involved with, specifically, I'm taking over everything. He has farm in Irwinville, Greensburg, Tallahassee, Moundville, and many acres. In total, probably over 250, close to 300 acres in Fuller. Now, obviously, most of it's not here, But you got to utilize our team. This brother's about to get drafted, Lord willing. Who, if he doesn't, so what? It's football. Who cares? Fuck it. Excuse me. Who cares? It don't matter. He still has a voice here. You know that about your brother. You know, everywhere we go, Cardell take pictures, blah, blah, blah. He's low-key famous. It doesn't matter, but it matters. And I'm mentioning that because even the gentleman he's working with, I love this brother, but he doesn't even know how important he is. This is the first and only black farmer that is allowed to grow cannabis. You can't even grow cannabis here, in the States. But the USDA and LSU AG Center and SU AG Center is allowing them to do this. All this stuff that Southern and LSU is growing as far as cannabis, that's cute stuff. All that is those are his seeds. Some of that cattle on the land that LSU got, that's cute stuff. He specifically did not take a grant from the USDA for a very specific reason that you need to speak to him about. I'm not going to because it's personal. But you need to ask him about that as to why he refused. To this day, the USDA has offered him over $4 million to help Quincy. And he has denied it each and every time for very specific reasons that he's going to have to disclose to you. I know. But I'm going to allow you to talk to him. Not even allow, you need to talk to him and see why. Because there's a lot of things that we need to do and really pound in on to make sure we're working smart and not so much hard. Because the loopholes that we can really get into to make this something magical. And I'm telling you that right now because I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen it. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but what I'm saying is we should utilize the tools and the supplies we have now. If Cardell and I work out, taking over the forum, we all can help each other. We already have land there. We already have 60 acres right there in Irvinville. 20 acres right there in Irvinville. Why not utilize that? They still got land Mr. Abar said Cardell can have. That's 20 extra. That's 40 right there. We plow on Thursday.
Hold on.
I don't know how to answer.
It's
I
all
just know
Bush.
Irvinville.
It's all Bush Road.
He'll probably know more than you.
It's all Bush Road.
Yeah, I would like to, because Cardell wants, that's what he wants to happen. He doesn't want you to necessarily stress yourself out more and more about, because obviously we understand the circumstances, but don't take offense to what I'm saying. When I say stress out is what we acquire new land. Here we got to get a new AE here. We got to do the USDA, all this, that, and the other. Him and I have already done the hard work as far as legal and everything.
I'm saying this so that everybody can get caught to speed.
Yeah.
I don't have no plan.
Okay. That's fair.
Listen, I didn't call the meeting because I got a plan that I'm giving to y'all, and I'm saying let's do this.
Understood. Well, when the time comes, before I say I've been quiet, I have a lot to say, but I'll go ahead and present everything when everyone's here. So I want everybody to understand what I'm saying. There's no coincidences here. It's happening the way it should, and I want to make sure we take advantage of what the Most High wants us to do. Right? It's the same story Nigel had gave me, about the boat, the man in the boat. If this is the Most High actually giving a sign, then I'm taking it. Let's take it. If he's trying to throw a raft out there, let's swim to it and let's go to land. Let him save us then. That's what we got to take advantage of, right? So if we got brothers on the team that's already working on it, let's help each other. We already got it. Let's build. We plow on Thursday. We'll start planting Thursday. A whole bunch of stuff that we already eggplant. Well, all of our melons, obviously. Any veggies that you can think about. But him and I are really thinking about specializing in peppers. I think that there's a lot of benefits that I've been researching as far as peppers here. If you really want to have like pepper bunkers and stuff like that. We're finding that a lot of foreigners are interested in buying our crops, Asians especially, specifically Jamaicans. So that's what we're finding out about. Habanero, jalapenos, Carolina Reaper, Ghost.
All right, look, we can talk about that later.
Yeah, that's why I say I have a lot to say, but I don't want to. That's why I've been quiet. I want to say what's on my mind, but there's so much stuff I want to say that could really make sense.
Listen, right now, the point is one goal. Anything after land is acquired is irrelevant. When Cardell comes, I will talk to Cardell.
Cardell's
But for my
in
knowledge,
Missouri.
Cardell's gonna be on. Yeah. To my knowledge, that land in Irwinville is not his.
Is it from his neighbor?
It's for his family. It's for his mom.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not his land. So it's not as easy as just saying we gonna move to Irwinville.
He didn't tell you they signed papers and all that?
Bro, you can sign as many papers as you want. The point is, the land is not his. It don't mean nothing. Okay? And then on top of that, we're talking about land to move on. Okay? This is not just land that we're gonna be plowing a few crops in. Okay? So the reason why I'm calling a meeting with everyone is, again, to make this very clear. As clear as I can possibly get this. There is no plan. There is only input that I'm asking people to give for suggestions to put our heads together about stuff like what you're saying. That is the whole point of the meeting. That's it. Anything else about, man, why is Zeph trying to start something new? We already got it. Bruh, shit like that is what I'm talking, excuse my language, but stuff like that is what I'm talking about, but I don't have time for it. This ain't about who is doing what, is in control of what, that's not what this is about. And if that's gonna be the mindset, you might as well just quit now. So I'm gonna talk to him about it when he get here. Or when he get on the Zoom. But that's not what I'm doing. I specifically told him, this is for input. So if you got an input, I got land here, I got land there, we can do this, we can do that. Bring it to the table. Look, you have no idea. There's too much stuff going on right now for pride, right? As soon as I smell it coming, I'm not gonna tolerate it. I'm not one bit, because this is not gonna. We do not have time. Our survival is at hand. You know what I'm saying?
What was prideful about what I just
It's not. You said it.
What was prideful about what Cardell
Why am
said?
I trying to start something new? Who said I'm trying to start something new?
Maybe that's how he took what you
Well,
said.
why are you taking it like? Why is he taking it like that? Okay, that's my point. Look, look.
I don't know
You
what
need
he
to calm
said.
down, because this is word, somebody else's word being spoken first of all. That's why y'all say y'all will talk about this later.
Hey, bro,
Let it be
I don't have
y'all
time for
talk
this.
about when everyone is present versus when you say that's going on
Because his
right
whole
now.
But I
This-
His whole idea, bro, was the fact that honestly he wanted you to take over the phone and do everything. It's the fact that you're extremely busy. So
You're bringing it. That way it's not up to the person's voice. This is thinking, he's thinking, this is his opportunity.
I'm gonna tell you straight up, you're taking what you're saying wrong. We're grown ass man.
Bro.
So take it the wrong way, respectfully. You know,
Just
you
let him explain himself. You know, that was all.
Words have meaning. Okay. Start something new. Mean exactly what it means. Okay. It means that you have something going on, and I don't want to do that. I want to start something new.
not even what he was saying, bro.
Okay, well then
When he first started, when he first,
Can I say something?
Yeah,
Just
go.
I guess what he's saying, I mean, I can see why he was saying like that, but being that what you said, in my mind, that's kind of how
No,
I see it.
he's
He's not necessarily, and I don't know, because I don't know him, but from just the exchange, it seems like he's basically, he may have chosen the wrong words, but maybe he's just saying, basically, what you wanted to do, he has to offer. I wish I had this conversation already.
it wasn't even,
Yeah, and now this is starting
Hold on,
something.
stop.
This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 19, verse 6 to 8. He that can rule his tongue shall live without strife, and he that hateth babbling shall have less evil. Rehearse not unto another that which is told unto thee, and thou shalt fare never the worse. Whether it be to a friend or foe, talk not out of other men's lives. If thou canst without offense, reveal them not. For he heard and observed thee, and when time cometh, he will hate thee. If thou hast heard a word, let it die with thee, and be bold, it will not burst thee. A fool travaileth with a word, as a woman in labor of a child. As an arrow that is sticketh, in a man's thigh, so is a word within a fool's belly. Well brought out. It's well brought out.
I don't really care whose feelings I hurt or whatever the case may be. It is what I promise you. But you go wrong for how you react. When we first started, not even me, not even Austin. Austin wasn't even in this, dog. It was you and him. So whatever y'all had, I'm not playing telephone. I played whatever. I don't know what conversation y'all had. You had a totally different conversation with me. You might have had a totally different conversation with Gabe. You might have had a totally different conversation with Cardell, Titus, Burgess, Steven, Matt, whatever. Matt called me and everything. Even when he explained to me yesterday what you told him, it was slightly different from what you and I spoke about. I'm not playing telephone. But when Yo Akim, Cardell Thomas started this whole thing, it was supposed to be you and him. You, could not do that right at the minute. You have a daughter to take care of. WSB is going amazing. And you're also a manager at a restaurant. That's a lot. He don't trust everybody, so he called on Austin to help. Now, if I was to assume what he meant, because assumptions really don't mean shit, I'm just assuming. By that, what that meant, still, with Zeph got all this going on, I still consider him a major part of what I'm building. I want him to be included with what we've already started, rather than him taking what you said, assuming that you wanted to start something else. Then maybe you need to clarify that with Cardell about what you really meant, rather than react about what I told you, with how he took it. That's not the case at all. You're wrong for how you reacted, though. You know better than that. You should hear the things he say about you and how you revere you as the greatest person in his life right now, bro. Nigga teared up crying on the way to Atlanta talking about you. So you're wrong for that. Now rest in peace. I'll drop my mic on that. That's that. It is what it is. But when everybody else comes, I'll be ready to talk and present, and you can allow Cardell to present what he would like to. You changed that brother's life. So, you, not me, you. I've helped. But you have a huge hand in that brother. That brother's life. This man, look, bro, he only knew the things that he was going through after other shooting at. And he contemplated on doing some stupid shit. And I don't even have to explain that. And you the one he gives reverence to saving his damn life after all the shit he was going through. You. Not no one else.
Now, hold on. Look, the point of that verse that Sister Haver brought up was to show one that I should not be responding to what Cardell said based off of y'all conversation. Okay? That was the point of that verse.
Yeah.
So, in my defense, I apologize to you. And I don't know what he said. We'll talk about it when he gets here. At the same time, let's just end it here. And we'll talk about that when we get here. Oh, and by the way, just to make it clear. I didn't do nothing.
Most high usually do that. I get it.
Just make sure you.
But honestly, I don't know how that works. Understood. Well, I'll wait until everybody else comes. Like I said, I have a whole bunch of shit that I'm excited about. I would love to share with everyone. Because this is perfect. I think this could be the start of something really, really good. And I don't want to do it with anybody else. So I trust you all. That's what it is. And everybody else involved, I feel very confident feels the same way. So, yeah. And us three specifically, we, especially me and Gabe, we've been in the same freaking boat right now. It's bad. So I'm ready to get started like yesterday. That's it. I know there's a lot going on, but yeah. I'll be ready to speak more about it when everybody's here.
I found some other categories. One is, then it says liability.
That's all that would fall under business.
Oh,
Yeah, so you probably see S corp, C corp, sole proprietorship. All those are subcategories under the business one. Yeah. So partner, same thing.
well, I get that, but I'm saying, like, what is that?
So a partnership is when two businesses in essence are operating for the sole purpose of one goal. So it's like when what's a good example of that? Yeah, like when certain, instead of being competitors in an industry and competing for the same customers, they just combine their resources, their assets, and they can get a wider range of the same customers.
Microsoft and Apple. Or
Yeah.
Singular and AT&T before AT&T bought out Singular.
Something like that. You might see parent or sister companies. It's just where one company has the rights and the revenues of another company, stuff like that.
So when you talk to the representative from USDA, what do they tell you?
I haven't talked to him yet.
Oh, how you schedule something on Monday?
Called Mr. Wallace, who I work with, goes to Washington, D.C. and lobbies for money for Southern University.
Right
And he gave me his contact.
What does he say the benefits are involved in USDA? Just grants?
This is not a grant, this is a loan. Okay. So that means the responsibility will be solely on me.
They will check your credit and
They already give it to me.
So what all does that depend on? What do you have to show? Do
You
they
would
have
have,
a limit,
you would have,
$50,000?
you would have to have a business proposal. Now, I was going to do this myself, okay? I have since pushed back on that. But the time is of the essence, and that would require a lot, okay? It still could happen. It's still an option. I just is putting that as input, okay? But a business proposal would need to be written, and they would in essence give me money to purchase land, a small house on it, and a tractor. The tractor would be for the purpose of production, fruits, vegetables, stuff like that. One of the reasons I looked into it is because Colbert was talking about having to wait on people for people to just cut the grass. So that's one of the reasons I looked into that. I haven't had the meeting yet. I'm going to bring up certain things in the meeting based off of our conversation that we're having currently. Okay. That was the whole point.
So, would you prefer to do a loan rather than a grant?
I would not prefer. I wouldn't prefer to do a grant either, because with the grant, you have to meet requirements to the government. The best thing to do is for us to use our own resources, put them together, and we don't need a green. You don't need to have a regulation or meet a requirement. It's the same thing like we talked about purchasing land through a person's name or through an EIN. It's easier to do it through a person. You don't have to go through the loopholes of researching this and that, setting up a mission statement, a charter, bylaws, having a board, having a treasurer, a secretary, a founder, a CEO, a COO, a CFO, all these different things. You don't have to do all that. But at the same time, it's only going to go under one person's name. It could go under multiple people's name, technically as co-signers if somebody want to put in their credit or whatever, stuff like that. But at the same time, whoever that is, the other people who is not that person has to trust that person that they are going to act with the best interest of the group as a collective, and is not going to have self-interest as a priority above communal interest. That's the point. That's something that, and when we talk, I'm going to ask that question. Okay? If anyone is not trusting in that, that has to be understood. And technically that's not really a pride thing. It could be. But you may have legitimate reasons as to why you may not trust that or whatever. Bring those out. These things need to be discussed. Okay?
So, like for example, I gave a quote on song, right? It's until
In Proverbs?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Was it Proverbs?
Yeah.
Supposed to acquire the land, get it, take care of it, take to it, and then go acknowledge after it, right? So for those gentlemen that already have, I guess, what they need in order to survive,
What do you mean? What do they have?
I mean, they already paying rent somewhere else, they already got this, that, and the other, and they feel like they're content with where they are.
They just
Do you
can't
guys
get.
believe they'd be willing to drop all that and come help us build?
I would hope so. If not, you just don't have to do it without them. Even if you have a house, you don't have what you need. Even if you have a house, Sister Yehuda got a house. If I wanted to rob Sister Yehuda right now, I could rob her. You got to think about how these wicked Negroes are going to think when they don't have no food and water. They don't care that she has a daughter, she has a son. They don't care that she's a woman. They don't care about, she got to eat too. They're not going to care about that.
I just want you to consider, like you always tell me, not everybody thinks the way you do. So just be prepared for that, as well as understanding that not everybody is comfortable with being uncomfortable.
So here's the thing. I'm already knowing that that's a thing. But I am obviously going to say, as I've stated before, said this to Sister Rita just now, I'll say it again, and I'm probably going to say it multiple times before this day is over. You can be content where you are now, but please understand that you are making a decision to continue not preparing. Whenever that time does come, you will be one of the ones who will suffer. And at that point, no problem. But just remember that that's the decision that you laid for yourself. That's it. It's the same thing that Moses did to our ancestors in the wilderness. He said before us, life and death, blessing and curses. We have a decision right now. We can choose to prepare or choose to not prepare, or choose to continue to procrastinate. But here's the problem with procrastination. Just like the parable, Christ says that the good man knows when the thief was coming, he would have prepared for it that night. The problem is you don't know. Now let's be honest, we in a rat race. We all paying rent or paying mortgage or whatever the case may be. The idea of doing that and continuously staying in this lower state, there ain't nobody in here got it like that. Continuously staying in that It makes no sense. We would actually come out better and further along. We combined our heads, put our resources together, and do something as a unit. And to be quite frank, when the elder told me this, the only thing that I could think about in my mind is that Mexicans do this, Indians do this, people from foreign countries, they do this all the time, and they succeed. And they come to this country, and after one generation, they are living better than us, and we've been here for over 400 years. I'm sorry? Pretty much. But that's because we struggle, because we choose not to work together. We choose to continue to be in this competitive-like mindset where I want to make more money than you, or I got a better car than you, or I got a better house than you, and all this other stuff.
That's another point, and I don't want to shout on everyone. It's not like something like this, not even considered of this magnitude, right? This is considered small to what's been done before us. Obviously, I can name a couple. Marcus Garvey's. I'll just stick with me. I can name a few others, but I'll just stick with him for an example. The curses ain't going nowhere. So, prepared or not, do you all honestly think that this is something that, like I said, I'm not saying this because I disagree. I'm just wanting to get everybody's opinion on how they feel about it. Do you all think this is something expedient, considering that we understand that the curses ain't going anywhere, and all of this is written anyway, and what has to happen has to happen. Most times we'll do what he wants. And until his son is here, eventually we'll see peace. Or is this the same thing we're looking at as far as just making sure we're prepared, just as we still observe these high holy days for the purpose of not only understanding but preparation? Like, what's the complete motive for something like this? You know what I'm saying? What I'm asking?
I thought you was asking everybody.
Yeah, well, really everybody. Do you understand what I'm asking?
That's what it came from, so.
How can I kind of simplify it? When you compare what we're doing to what some of our, I guess, other more far-seeing ancestors have done, I kind of pointed out Marcus Garvey specifically. Us understanding that their whole purpose when we got here was to prevent the coming of the Black Messiah, and they've implemented a whole bunch of things in order to make sure that doesn't happen. So, considering that, we understand that nothing has happened like this, and it's not been successful because the simple fact that these curses aren't going anywhere. You can blame that. You can also blame the fact that we just do not get along. We're always crashing the bucket. We just can't come together for anything to save our lives, but you can even correlate that with the curses, right? You just can't get out of it. So is this more so geared towards us being prepared like we do with the High Holy Days, Passover? Or is this more so something that we really think cannot, I wouldn't say break the curses, obviously, it's up to the Most High, what he wants to do. I guess I'm trying to simplify it. Because to me, it's like the curses ain't going nowhere, but I'm willing to build. And I would much rather die over something like this than something that don't mean anything, right? I would be fine with dying over something like this. But do we all understand that these curses ain't going nowhere, no matter how much we build and do? That's what I'm really asking. Okay. Well, like I said before, I'm 100% in. I just want us to understand that we ain't greater than what's already written. And most times we do what he pleases. And we ain't gonna get peace until his son is here, no matter what. So there were great men and women before us that tried to implement this. I can even talk about Tulsa, right? I can talk about Black Wall Street, them are in the truth, but who knows? At the end of the day, it'll always come when these demons are here, ready to kill us. Anything that we try to do. So I want to make sure y'all know that and prepare for that. Because this is something that can honestly get us killed. So I'm cool with it if y'all cool with it. I just wanted to ask that question. That's all. I'm here. We've been trying to do it. You know, I'm cool with us being the next ones to try. I'm cool with it. I'm excited. I just wanted to ask that question so we're actually on the same page.
Ask him now.
Concerning the land, you said, that land is on the highway.
Yeah, what you call it?
It's on Bruce Road. It's not a highway. It's just a street.
So you said something about, I guess that would be a question for you, maybe on the, you said something about it being
Don't.
over 20
It's not.
acres.
It's not. It's not here.
Yeah, I would just ask.
Another 20 acres, that's what next to it.
Yeah, that's fence. I think the gentleman owns it, his name is Mr. Abear, from what I've been told. And Mr. Abear told Cardell that he could have those 20 acres and he'll do nothing with it. He's never has since he's had it.
So is he willing to give it his ownership?
Like from what
Right.
Cardell told me, yeah. But that's a question that Cardell would have to answer straight up himself.
Even if he answered that straight up himself,
He would have to present the
nothing don't mean
documents
nothing until papers get
Yeah,
signed.
like he would have to present those documents proving that that's actually solicited.
They don't even know if it's perfect.
And all your research consists of just land here and just handling that. Or just acquiring land.
Pretty much.
Why do you think it's not been done yet? As far as even here?
What you mean?
Like people in the communities, in the truth, why do you think they haven't started?
Well, forget people in the truth for a second. There are people who are doing this right now in country areas. They're just not in the truth. Country people do this all the time. It's easier for them because that's how they live. But we're talking about city folk here. Right. So that's going to be the challenge. Really, it's not that much of a challenge, but because we're city folk, it's a challenge. So that's the thing. The people are already doing this.
What's the minimum amount of acres you think we should stay?
Like I said, that depends on. Huh?
You said up. You answered it.
No. Well, let me make it clear. Let me make it clear one more time. I said that is based off of the number of people who are bought in. And then I gave a scenario of all of us in this room, including Sister Nama's husband, Sister Zipporah's husband, as well as her 2 kids, which is about 15 people.
Acre per person.
And I said at least 10 pasteurized land, not undeveloped land, pasteurized land, meaning land that is available to put trailers on, to put tents on, to do gardens on, to herd cattle on. Okay. The extra what? Some of it's no. The land in front is pasteurized. That may be like 5 acres. There's land behind that there's a creek and there's woods that would need to be, there's like a waterway that goes through. That land would need to be developed, meaning we would have to rent out a contract, bulldozers. Exactly. It's a lot of money. And then it's a lot of work. Okay. I would much rather not do that. Me personally. I'm sorry. We could have it, but we would just have to have enough pasteurized land to do all the other stuff. So let's say we have enough. Like when I said these brothers and I mentioned this to you, um, when I spoke with you. And let me also make this clear too. When I spoke to y'all, I gave all of y'all the same thing in the beginning. Now, wherever the conversation went, based upon questions that was asked, that might have been different based off of the person. When we talked about, like I said, me and Gabe talked about guns. I don't think me and you talked about guns. So that conversation would have been a little bit different. But the point is, it's an invitation to give input. When I talked about that, these brothers got 75 acres. 75 acres is a very large amount of land, and it's good enough for any amount. Like, if I was to consider everybody to be bought in, who I've talked to and who y'all may know and who may be, in that number, if I was to include everybody, 75 acres would be enough. Okay? If I was to include everybody, 75 acres would be enough. And let's say of that 75, 20 is unpasteurized. Right? It's like woods. Okay? That's still 55 acres that leave you. That's enough. Okay? Even if we wanted to expand, because I'm sure we might want to be a refuge for some other brothers and sisters who you guys may know, right, who we want to add that to. Logistical things will need to be planned out ahead of time, but that's the case. Okay? But like I said, that is dependent. So what we would have to do is we'd have to get a number, and then go from there. So the creek would not be drinkable water. You would have to filter it. But that's fine too, because then what? We could have so the community that I talked to, the elder that's in Tennessee, they have it's a water filtration system that pulls water from the creek, filters it, and there's pipes that lead to the hoses that water the gardens and stuff like that. They can use it to do whatever, right? Now they still have sewage, so they can still get water out of the sink and all that. But they have that in case sewage stops, etc. That's another investment. That's kind of like the solar panels thing. That's what it is. A septic tank. That tank is above ground, and there's a pipe under it, and I'm sure the brothers would have to dig a path.
You can just build a culvert. You can build your own man-made ditch. Build a culvert.
Yeah.
I get my Mexicans out there, build a whole culvert, get an irrigation system going, some plumbing.
We need to do it.
Huh?
We need to do it. All of us.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I know how to do some of that. Well, I know how to bring it out. I know how to
Any work that can be done, we would need to do. All this, giving it to somebody, all that's just more money to pay. We got able bodies right here. And brothers need to get out of this comfort.
especially with soda.
But that's going to be needed if electricity is there. A lot of what?
I'm just interested because Louisiana, the weather's so consistent. You find a lot of those in the West, like places like Minnesota and stuff like that. You see a whole bunch of houses. So, we just getting on that.
Well, anything else?
In order for things to make sense, we just need to hear everybody else's contribution, ideas, and we can begin to create a call to action and begin to execute small steps, small steps, small steps, small steps. And just, one day we'll look behind us and see everything good. But I definitely think we should bite off more than we can chew. With as many people as want to get involved, I think we should take it slow. Honestly, everything's on Robert's time. I think that's how it should be done anyway, right? Make sure we make all the right moves first. I think this could be a very technical thing. It's not easy, especially with work. As long as everybody is on the same page, especially the man, I think we'll really well.
This is one thing that I did want to mention too. I'll mention it again when I let everybody else know. Anybody who's paying rent, that's unnecessary. Okay. Extremely unnecessary. It made more sense to move in with someone and start to do combine the resources like that. Now that begs the question of those of you with houses, all right? Those of you with houses. We know that the scriptures talk about in Acts chapter 4 that the people sold their houses, right, and everything else that they had for that. Now, that would mean that those of you who have houses, in essence, have more to think about. And obviously, the house is, well, you might not be in this category, but for you, Sister Zipporah, and for you, Sister Nana, being that you guys are married, that decision cannot be just made with you alone, okay? That would have to be made with your husbands. With that being said, whoever is paying rent, though, that is just money that is just going into somebody else's hand, okay? Whoever else is paying rent. Now, if an immediate plan would be to do things like move in and save money, to put money in this collective group, that would mean that the people who are paying rent should, in essence, move in with a person who either has a house, or if it's decided, we rent out a big house for multiple people to live in, okay? That depends on the input, whatever like that, okay? But the rent thing, it's not gonna work, okay? That's gonna take too long. And all that money that you're paying, I'm sure most of us is paying $1,000 or more for rent, okay? That's $1,000 every month that is being wasted that could go towards doing whatever it is that we're trying to do, okay? So I think as an immediate plan, that does have to be talked about, like, because that's literally, if we could do something today or tomorrow or next week or whatever, that's probably the first thing, coming up with that idea to move in with someone else to where we can start saving more money so that our expenses go down, okay? Any questions or comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mentioned that, right? I asked you how you felt about that. And you said, well, I guess they just won't be here right now, which is fair. But even in terms of working, Zeph, me and you and Gabe really the only ones as far as the entire group that have done blue collar labor, bro. Been out in that sun with no complaints. And been working our asses off, almost passing out, literally. Who else coming here tonight have done that?
Why you bring it up?
I'm mentioning it because it's going to matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna matter. It's going to matter. This ain't no easy work, man. This is hard. And we need to understand that everybody, especially, that's why I say especially the men, are ready to do that. It ain't no, oh, it sounds good, man. I want to be a part of it, man. Oh, yeah, hurrah. No, oh, that's what I'm saying. It's not like that. It's not a game. If this is something that we're going to really take serious, then we need to take it serious.
I don't understand how we not how would that not.
I'm not saying you or
I know
anybody
that.
else in
I'm
here.
saying we.
So I'm just saying, once we break ground and we have schedules and everything going, itinerary schedule, work, we're going to do this for this amount of work, 8 hours today. This amount of work next day, 12 hours. All right, we got this, we got this. We got to all be sure that everybody here that's wanting to contribute or be committed is going to do that. Because I'm not worried about us three. But the other gentlemen coming, they don't even have goddamn calluses on their hands. Okay?
So
That's what I'm saying.
So let me say this just to make sure I'm understanding you right. Let's say we get a house and all the brothers
Andre
meet.
too. I know he was going too.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yeah, he's probably on, but anyway, all the brothers move into a house. You don't have to do a blue collar job to contribute. Now, when we get land, you will have to.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's later. I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about right now. Right now, the first thing that people can do, that we all can do, literally make this decision today. Because everything else, most of the stuff that we've talked about is future reference. So I'm honing it back in. Today, the decision can be made. Whoever is paying rent should not be paying rent. You are wasting money. I know we probably have contracts, et cetera, et cetera. Somebody said something? No. I know some of us probably have contracts, et cetera, et cetera. All that can be laid out. But the point is, whoever is paying rent, these need to be the first ones to be willing to move in. Now, that begs the question of the people with houses, okay? The people with houses can either make the decision to let in those people who are paying rent as a way to help them pay their mortgage if they have it, to decrease the expenses, to then put more money into the pot. That would be the strategy. Or if that's not an option, if that's not an option, we go and rent out a nice size house or a house for, depending on however many people is going to be living here, and we work whatever job. Don't matter what your job is. We work a job, we pay our small portion, and the rest of the money get put into the pot. Period. That decision can be made today. Okay? That decision can be made today. You got something? Yeah, go ahead.
I talked to you and I was
No, right now, what you be doing? What you be doing? Because, we, damn, it's 4:43. Okay. Yeah. Does it have to be in private? Does it have to be in private? Alright. Well, just let's wait. Do any of the sisters have anything? Well, I do want to ask you guys, because I brought that up about the houses. Okay. Those of you with houses. What are y'all's I guess stance on what we're talking about now, seeing as though you've obviously been paying a mortgage, etc., right? I'm sure it has some type of family meaning to you, etc., right? What are you guys' stances on what we've been talking about, being that you do have property? Exactly. you said, like, is it?
I said that I'm willing to do it, but I have to discuss it. See what I have to discuss it with.
Understood, yeah, right. Anything? I'm sorry? You second the motion? Oh. That's in terms of selling, or that's in terms of letting people move in to build or raise funds? You said, say it again? Okay, to move in and build funds. Well, right, I'm just trying to gauge a thought process. Okay, well, let me ask this, dude. Let me not ask that. I'm not going to ask that. I'm just going to mention it. In the event that there's not something that is agreed upon, then obviously, of course, the decision will be yours at that point. But that is something that will have to be considered because it's a possibility. But, it's a little bit different for you. You could, in essence, sell. Now, you would want to keep this house if we were to get land. So once it's gotten, then there's no need for it, is what you're saying? So you would be, that's fine, but that's not what I was about to ask. So you're willing to house others who may be paying rent for the purpose of. So now, instead of somebody paying somebody else thousands of dollars a month, whatever. But again, just you have to understand that is at the expense of privacy. Okay. When I say privacy, I'm talking about, okay, look, you ain't at your house, you're not by yourself. So it has to be understood. And other people would have to get accustomed to that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because that's what will have to happen. There's only so much couch to go around. So somebody gonna have to catch the flow. Yeah, you're about to say. First Corinthians 14 and 40. Oh, 14 and 40. All right, 1 Corinthians chapter 14 and verse 40 says here, let all things be done decently and in order. Okay? Of course, that's the point of this. That done decently and in order is the only way that this can be done. So that means the principles that are within these scriptures have to be submitted to 100%. And we have to be operating in the spirit of that. Because if not, that's when conflict takes place and things disintegrate. Okay? Absolutely. So what did we achieve today? Today, I wanted to mention this, and right now, the goal is to combine resources immediately. Immediately. Okay? Everybody has to be bought in. The person who, and when y'all have those conversations, please let us know. And so therefore we can move accordingly. Okay? Anybody who is paying rent should stop. If they bought in, move in with somebody else, have those conversations. That money is going to be used to build up a fund, okay, so that this land can be acquired. All right. That's what we're doing right now. That's the objective. We'll talk about that more when the brothers come too. You have a house too. Okay, so you have two. So, right. All right. I know that. Right. Most people have a lease. So what? How long is the lease for? What is it? A year? It's probably gonna be a thing. This right here. All right, I'm gonna leave this running. And we can have you still remember what you want to talk to me else about? When you come out with your what I might do is, as a suggestion, for those who, like if there's another sister who cannot I'm leaving it on. I'm coming right back.
Yes. And 2 years ago, take that over.
Hey, she getting her fun out of me, so she's like, okay.
Talking about moving into everybody putting in. You know, I remember we had a juicy with this treasure. Cash out, and a person being controlled. You know, actually have to do this all of it. You can't be concerned about what somebody is doing or you become the same issue that we just had, I see this talking about. If you tell, you say you in, it's gonna always be one person that's gonna have total control over everything. And if they do something that you don't agree with, it's gonna cause that same issue. So you have to have that mindset that once you're in, you just trust that everything's gonna be done the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. Really, that's the whole object. So you would definitely have to put off your concerns about what's going on or what that person makes you think they're doing. That's first and foremost. When we talking about a little bit of time versus a whole lot more. before, I was pressed out basically about the earlier, I was reading in the article. That's your phone. Alright, I'm gonna turn this chair again. This one good? Okay. She telling me ain't nothing.
Yeah, that's on good.
Alright, still there? I know, I'm gonna turn it. Just tell me where we going first. Okay.
Acts chapter 4. Starting at verse 31. 36. let them know they were suggesting to read.
Okay, brothers and sisters, we had a suggestion to read Acts 4, starting at verse 31. Acts chapter 4, starting at verse 31. And it reads, "And when they had prayed, the place was shaken where they were assembled together, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit. And they spoke the word of Yah with boldness. And the multitude of them that believed were of one heart and of one soul. Neither said any of them that aught of the things which he possessed was his own, but they had all things common." 33. "And with great power gave the apostles witness of the resurrection of the Father, of the Messiah, and great grace was upon them all. Neither was there any among them that lacked, for as many as were possessors of lands or houses sold them, and brought the prices of the things that were sold." 35. "And laid them down at the apostles' feet, and distribution was made unto every man according as he had need." 36. "And Joseph, who by the apostles were surnamed Barnabas, which is being interpreted the son of consolation, a Levite, and of the country of Cyprus." 37. "Having land, sold it, and brought the money and laid it at the apostles' feet." Chapter 5, starting at verse 1. "But a certain man named Ananias, with Sapphira, his wife, sold a possession, and kept back part of the price. His wife also being privy to it, and brought a certain part and laid it at the apostles' feet. 3. But Peter said, Ananias, why has Satan filled thy heart to lie to the Holy Spirit, and to keep back part of the price of the land? Whilst it remained, was it not thy own? And after it was sold, was it not in thy own power? Why hast thou conceited this thing in thy heart? Thou hast not lied unto men, but unto Yah." And Ananias, hearing these words, fell down and gave up the ghost. And great fear came on all them that heard these things. And the young men arose, wound him up, and carried him out and buried him. And it was about the space of 3 hours after, when his wife, not knowing what was done, came in. And Peter answered unto her, Tell me whether ye sold the land for so much. And she said, Yea, for so much. Then Peter said unto her, How is it that ye have agreed together to tempt the Spirit of the Father? Behold, the feet of them which have buried thy husband are at the door, and shall carry thee out. Then fell she down straightway at his feet, and yielded up the ghost. And the young men came in and found her dead, and carrying her forth, buried her by her husband. And great fear, verse 11, and great fear came upon all the church, and upon as many as heard these things.
somebody else on here?
Well, the
No, I
nurse
was
was
just
just
reading.
left.
No, I left it on purpose. Yeah, I left it on purpose.
It was suggested that we read
Did y'all read it?
Mhm.
So what y'all get out of
We just reading.
it? They did what?
We just finished reading and
Okay.
Sister Tapora was speaking.
Yeah, what was it?
Well, I'll just reiterate what she just said. She was saying that it actually brought to light what we were already discussing about us by selling what we have to put in so that we can go towards what is being buying the land and putting forth what we say we would. In that message, it also says that if we do it, we shouldn't lie about what we're doing or what we get. We should be doing our own. And there are consequences because we won't be lying to a man, but we'll be lying to God.
Right. Did you see about the man and the woman who sold their house?
Yeah, that was part of what we read in chapter 5.
Right.
And that's what I was talking about. Because we put it in or saying we're going to put it in and not put it on.
Now, some people, many people don't have any assets. Right? So this is those people. They had assets to sell to then contribute. But I can tell you right now, there are many people who have explained to me their financial situation that they don't have. On. They're actually in arrears. Okay? So what they're gonna need to do is they're gonna still need to decrease the expenses, and they can build the camaraderie, the chemistry, because it's not just about money. So they can still build that, but they need to get rid of the debt so that they have more to contribute once it's done. That's for people who don't have much, because I got a couple of people who it's not good. It's not good at all. So we have to consider all that when we're talking about this. I was going to tell you and Elise, I'm not sure if there's anyone who, well, even though you have a lease, it would still be good for people who have leases to still live in that setting. Not who said,
Say live in that city
yeah, with the rest of the people.
and
Right.
pay.
As, no. I'm talking about just living there. Okay, not the contributing part. The brothers who literally have to do it, they have to contribute. Right. I'm just thinking about this from let's say I have a lease, and they got 5 brothers, and they all living in a house, but I still have my lease. It's still good for me to live with them. You see, and still pay my lease to build, because it's not just about money. It's building the camaraderie, and because you only get so much at service. It's still a good idea to do. So I'm trying to think, though, because they do have some brothers with leases, and maybe 1 or 2 could move in with them now until the lease is over, and then if we still haven't reached the funds yet, then once the lease is over, we can move in like that. We can plan it, because I'm knowing that they do have some people who have leases right now. So I'm knowing that, at least. What'd you guys get out of Acts 4? Because if they hold him back, then that give justification for somebody else. And then at that point, nothing is getting done. We might as well keep on going at the rate that we're going.
Some of us that have time change, like change, we don't know from when this dollar is not when it's not here for us.
Right.
We don't know when a dollar will crash. Now I turned 58 in July, 59 in half. I could withdraw without a penalty.
Without a penalty, the 10%.
But that wouldn't be until a year and a half.
That's fine. So that's fine because you end up getting more out of it. But
But if something happened and dollar crash, I don't know what's gonna happen.
well, look, I can tell you right now, your 401k, you done probably already lost some money, I'm sure. And when you get taxed, your tax bracket, they gonna take a good chunk of that money out anyway. So
Now, they did tell us at no cost, if we remember now, that they was telling us that they moved out, they moved out 401k to someone else to keep it more secure, because if something like that happened,
something like what?
it's not. So they moved it to someone else, another investor, so that our money could be more secure.
Is it still a 401k? It's not secure.
No, some of it, I'm not saying all of it, some of it.
I need to see the document. I need to see the document. I can tell you if it.
They still, go ahead.
I need to see the document. If they just moved your 401k and they just have
No, I just moved it. This is 2 years back.
Right.
They said it's somewhere where it would be more secure.
the only way that your 401k could be secure is if they indexed it. An index means that when the stock market goes below zero, you will never lose money. That's an index. You have index life insurance, you have index annuities, you have index, a Roth IRA is indexed, okay? A 401k is not indexed. It don't matter who is managing it. You can have a different manager.
That could be some, that could be one of those.
It could be. It could be, right? It could be. That's actually a smarter idea as opposed to taking on all one side. I'm getting my securities license. I'm in the process of getting that now. Okay, so I'm learning about all this stuff. And I would much rather you wait than just do it. Because right now, you like you said, you're going to get taxed and you're going to get 10%. Right, just leave it alone. And then Sister Nama is what? 40? Right, so you can cancel that. You know, hers would have to be moved. Right? So all that can be discussed. Just give me some time. All right, I'm figuring all that out. That's just that. But now we're talking about other stuff. Okay. What else? I would really like to talk to Alfred. Y'all can have y'all conversation. But I would really like to, because I tried to reach out. Okay. Well, you're going to have to talk to him anyway. So just give me... I'll get with Brother Andre on it too. But yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Why does he want land? Why does he want to grow food? Has he? Okay, so I need to talk to your son then too, okay? Because we're going to find ways to get people in this word. Next year, and take some food that he has Right. So he's obviously doing that for a reason. So he must be seeing something. Right. And so this is one of the reasons why I contacted all these brothers, because I talked about I called this type of a meeting over a year ago. Things weren't happening like that, developments and stuff, but more people are seeing it. So that's why I want to talk to them, because if we can have that conversation and we can meet at a common ground as to seeing what's going on, then not only that, but knowing that this is prophetic, that it's going to happen, that it's already been written. This could be a way that your son realized that this is the Most High calling him this last time before stuff hit the fan.
He's been talking like nonstop. I can say he's talking like this house. I can say it next year.
So we need to talk to them. So when are they available? Like, when do they have leisure time? Your son or Alfred? You get home around 6. Every day, Monday through Friday, what? Out. Okay. Send me his number. If I don't call him tomorrow, I will call him Tuesday. Okay. If I do not call him tomorrow, I will call him Tuesday. What about Alfred? What about Alfred? I'm just saying, when is he available?
Do what?
I would have to.
Like, you cut grass?
Father Real?
Of course. You say he coming? You said he coming? Yeah, Mr. Brush.
What? You should have visualized everybody smiling. Yeah, it's funny because I just asked this one. Alright. I did this business class and doing TV commercials. I did all that.
Yeah, I've been a really shy person.
But I can talk. Did you bring the next with you last week? No, you told me you was getting. I brought napkins and I brought, you said you was getting the plate. You said you had them, you had left them at home. No, she said she had plates and she had left them at home. You had went out to your car, you came back and you said I must have left them at the house. I only had napkins. You we just left this last week because you went outside. You came back and you say, oh, I must have left them in the house.
They, I just called about it. I'm sorry. They in my kitchen calling me.
That's okay. I'll take
All right, hopefully,
I'm sorry, y'all. I got confused.
those of you who are on the live, we will be having the meeting at 6 with some of the rest of the brothers who I've invited. I'm not expecting a large showing, but I could be surprised. There will be a Zoom link as well, so some brothers won't be here. So we're going to continue this conversation about trying to acquire land, living off the grid, growing our own food, having our own cattle, etc., etc. It can be done. It's already been done before.
The babies are so funny.
We could do it now.
They literally make
You
you
gotta
so-
all buy in. You gotta all buy into that.
I saw y'all this morning just crying. Nigel's son. You haven't met Nigel yet. He just started crying for no reason.
I think that's what wanted me to
I think you're trying to say something.
Like, no, I don't want to do it. Or no, I don't want to come to you. Yeah, there's a definite need for communication. I'm wet, I'm hungry, I'm sleepy, I'm irritable.
No, that was once for him for some reason.
I mean, she cute, but she stared at me. I don't like that.
What you got it? I got some stuff that I can see on but you put everything up in here.
I got a lot of stuff.
Huh?
So I got a lot of stuff I can sell myself.
Okay. Now, it wouldn't be a whole lot of it.
It don't matter.
I was thinking about putting this on oil. Putting this on oil.
The Facebook Marketplace,
Yeah, or something like this.
that's fine.
And silver.
Anything helps. Here, the thing is this, and yeah, somebody about it. Now, the thing is this: contribution is not just about money. It's about everything. The willingness to give time, energy, effort, because we still have to build camaraderie. We're gonna be seeing each other every day. All right, every day. So, yeah, exactly. And so that has to be built, right?
And let's not close our eyes and see that to the Lord. To the doors that the Most High opened for us. And just walk through it consciously.
What you mean?
Even though we don't see it as the pin the doors that Most High opened for us, but just don't push past it. Because even with all the great men in the Bible, said when he said gave things to they were hesitant to accept and they gave them all that, but they still proceeded and they asked him to definitely guide them through it. All that good stuff. Because look at Solomon, Moses. Because that's where I'm at in the book.
What book?
Oh,
Babylon 2:2? So
yeah.
you seeing Moses in Egypt? You talking about him in
They tell you about some of the things that they don't know about. How Pharaoh's daughter presented to Pharaoh as as her child, as a gift, and all of this. And because he loved his daughter, he let her find himself with him and all that didn't do even though they had an astronomer life, an astronomer come to him and tell him
Yeah.
that there's an evil child. Okay?
That was gonna come and
Under the description of
they show that in that movie, Exodus. They show that in that movie where they have a priestess, prophesying. Yeah.
Ooh, now, I seen that movie, Exodus, but I didn't see the part that you was talking about, but I read about it in the book.
I was like, hold
It
on.
might not be. It's one of them. It's one of the movies about Moses and the Exodus.
Oh,
It's on there because I remember.
yeah, because the one that we watched, me and Cyrus, they didn't show that part where they went through.
That was the one in 2014.
I think so.
Is
yeah.
Christian Bale the actor?
The one that played Batman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
I watched another one.
I was about to say, it can't be the one that you talk about, because the one that you was talking about with them going through that land with the serpents that were
That one in there. That wasn't in that
It
one.
wasn't in there, but they got it in the book.
But that wasn't in the movie I'm talking about either.
Oh,
The movie I'm talking about, the priestess literally said a Hebrew child would rise and no, but I think they did say it in Exodus, in the movie Exodus 2, because they had somebody came and said the king. No, there was another prophet. It said the king shall be saved, and he that saved or something. And it was talking about how Moses ended up saving the king's son from battle. You remember that though? You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, now they happened in 2024. The Exodus 2024.
No, 2014.
2024.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But that wasn't in the book.
and hated Moses too. But they had you also got the nah, yeah, it was it's not in their book. It's not good. I was like, they talked about the man that they went to with the blind soldier. That sounds like dragons to me. Because those dragons look like
They do have some. You know them little things. They have like wings around their head type thing, and it's like they. I don't know how you describe them, but they reptiles, and they can kind of glide. Huh? No, it's not iguana. They can glide though. Like if they jump off a tree or something, they flare.
What, a flying squirrel?
I don't know, bro. I just know it's not a squirrel, but
I
it's
like how
a
this man said reptile and you said squirrel.
Oh, you said reptile?
yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah, it says it's a reptile, but it bite and it lives in desertous areas. And I don't know if that's what they were talking about though. I just know that they use what they call it some kind of bird to kill them off.
They fly out there too. Because they fly. It didn't say flies, they say flies.
No,
And
this
they
bird
have-
actually flies. Right?
Yeah.
But what I'm talking about, I don't think it flies. I don't know no snakes that fly. I know if I seen a flying snake, it's over it.
That's why I was able to hide inside on the ground doing not unexpected things. So, and then he went through that lane, and as soon as they got there, they released the old car. But when he got to Ethiopian princess,
Yeah.
they was like, they could make it responsible all I do is for them to do it because of the way they do the war. The war was so strong. So I was the confidence. And she was the man inside that seen
She was opening the door. That's why when the conversation came up with Moses' wife, the Ethiopian, and it was stated that could be Zipporah. That's why I mentioned that was not Zipporah, because Zipporah was a Midianite. Zipporah was not a princess either. Well, Zipporah, her father was Rebel, which was a priest. So she definitely was not a princess. Okay. Princess is the daughter of a king. No. Cause yes, ma'am.
You want a sandwich?
No, ma'am, I'm okay. Thank you. What? But yeah, because she could, but I mean, she could have been a priestess. I don't know how Midianites did they priests or whatnot. Uh,
So, like, when you started this, make sure, I was way before you got and that was like his journey.
no, no, he was with the Ethiopian before he got his report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say, so, when that was part of his journey to becoming
And you gotta remember, Moses is 40 years old when he leaves
what did he
Egypt
oh,
to go to Midian, where he then meets Zipporah. He's 40 years old at that point. You gotta also remember too, that he is 80 when he comes back to Egypt. You're talking about him being in Midian for 40 years. It's a long time. Right. And so he comes back, he's 80, and then he delivers them. And then he's in the wilderness for what? Another 40. He's in the wilderness for 40 years. And then he dies in Deuteronomy 34. So that's why I said that he lives to be 120 years old. But yeah. So, and those sources, some people don't deem him to be Rudolph R. Windsor to be a credible source. But you don't have to worry about that. Though that's like research that when you start getting into scholarly research, you have to get primary sources. If you get into a debate with somebody who knows different sources, what'll happen is they will try to discredit the source. So you'll be citing a source that makes your point, but then what they're gonna do is they're just gonna attack your source and say that your source is not credible and stuff like that. So that's why I don't really look at like these guys who be trying to make it seem like they too scholarly to talk to and all that. Like I'd still look up the information just for my own because I'm just interested in it. But most people are not. But that I believe that because that is stated in multiple places where Moses went to Ethiopia, and it literally says in Numbers 12 that he had an Ethiopian wife. They never confused Midianites for Ethiopia. You will never read that in the Bible where somebody confused a Midianite for an Ethiopian. But it wasn't called that then.
the Arabs called the
I think that's what Ethiopia means. Now they actually have sources too that say that Sudan broken up is So-Udan. So is an abbreviation for sojourner. So it's somebody who's not from here who's traveling here. And Udan they say is talking about Judean or Jews. So sojourners of Judean. They're basically trying to say that the Israelites don't live here, but they live in here. They're sojourners. I've seen sources that claim that. How true that is, I don't know, but I do know that we did migrate into that area. So. They didn't have white Egyptians at that time. Hasmonean? Well, that's a dynasty? Right, because Egypt was conquered by, first Egypt was for Mitzrayim, right? That is the son of Ham. Egypt was conquered by Canaanites. So these are other sons of Ham, but they're not the same people, but they conquered Egypt and they have control. you read that in Babylon 10:2? Let me see that right quick.
That was like a New Dynasty. Like the New Dynasty. Okay. They go to word right here. Right there. HY.
Oh, the Hyksos. Okay, okay.
So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay, but see, these are descendants of ancient Horites.
All right.
That's who the
They say that
Edomites.
there.
That's who the
Oh.
Edomites mixed with. So remember, in the land there were giants, quote unquote, right? That each of us had to. The Moabites had giants that they had to destroy from their land. The Ammonites had to do the same thing. The Edomites had to do the same thing, right? And so the people, the giants that were in Edom, were Horites. We can see this. Where was that? I could find it in the Bible for you. But yeah, Horites were cave dwellers. And
Now, hold on, wait a minute. I'm tripping. They were cave dwellers, but they had horses and carriages.
yeah, the Hyksos. Well, remember, so it said that they're descendants of the ancient Horites. But I'm talking about the Horites. But who did the Horites mingle with? The Edomites. And so the Edomites create civilizations and whatnot. So they probably, I mean, they took over, but they mixed with them too. So in essence, they could have horses. The Hyksos could have horses. That's not out of the realm of possibility that they could have horses. I mean, especially at that time, Egypt is so prevalent with breeding horses to then sell for, because you gotta think, what do people do today? What do countries do? They develop weapons, and then in these weapons, they go and sell them, right, to other countries. At that time, horses is a huge weapon. That's why they were bred, because everybody at that time is looking to go to war, conquer more territory, take over land, protect themselves. They all needed horses. This is why one of the king's commandments, when people talk about the king multiplying horses, people think, oh, well, he just can't multiply horses. It's not about him just multiplying horses. What did God tell Solomon when he asked for wisdom? What didn't Solomon ask for? He didn't ask for riches, and he didn't ask for the necks of his enemies. A king is constantly thinking about war, protecting his nation from other people, and so they constantly building up their arsenal, building up their military, training the people, blah, blah, blah. Horses is a part of that aspect. So him thinking about acquiring horses is not him just wanting to ride a whole bunch of horses. It's for the purpose of war. Exactly. That's the point. So, and him wanting to do that would cause people to return there. Now, when you look at King Solomon, he multiplied horses, but he didn't cause the people to return to Egypt to multiply horses. His wisdom brought the people to him, and when they came to him, they came with riches, they came with gold, silver, scarlet, all these things, including horses, and they were able to acquire those horses from them. So but you gotta remember, what did God tell David? David conquered Syrian territory, he conquered Zidonian territory, he put in subjection the Ammonites, the Edomites, and the Moabites, and the Philistines. So all of his enemies, remember, what did he tell to King Solomon? He said, I've already done the hard work, right? So you don't have to worry about that. You can worry about advancing the kingdom. Exactly. Why? Because he couldn't build it till too much blood on his hands, right, from all the wars. Solomon could though, because King David had already finished the battles. So in that case, we see that horses again. It's not just about riding horses. Horses were used for chariots. Horses are used to bring provision. When you go to war, especially if you're trying to conquer territory, you can sustain yourself by killing all villagers and stealing their food, or you can do that, or you can go and have your own provision. So you pack food that can be stored, like beans, stuff like that. Who's carrying all that? The chariots and the horses. That's what's carrying it. Fortified it, right. And so all that plays into a part, but yeah, it's a lot.
Now, you know people that sell homes, well, then you really got to stop that over there. They sell cabinets and houses. How much is a cow?
How much is what? A cow? Depends.
Depends on
Well, it depends on the breed, stock, where it's at in its age or its lifetime. I mean, if you want to buy a big bull, you're talking about over 1,000 easy.
So we're gonna use some.
Well, I don't know about bulls plural.
Just one.
You probably need one. Okay. You can have as many cows as you want, but
And a whole bunch of females.
yeah, you just need one bull, because all the bulls are gonna do is they're gonna fight and they're gonna tear up a lot of stuff. They're gonna eat. Okay, the cow's gonna eat too, but a bull is obviously gonna consume more.
Now, what do we do? Hopefully we're gonna have a real.
If we have the males, then they probably be used for meat until the father bull gets too old, and then we'll kill it, use that bull for meat, and we'll raise another one up, get a new breed of cow, because obviously he's not going to be able to procreate with, you know,
We don't have goats and shit.
all that. I plan on having all in it.
Because they got a goat out there one night that I seen.
No. Well, we could do all that. We could do goats, sheep, cows, chickens. They do have people who the brother who I helped, volunteer to help with. No, he don't have sheep, but he knows a person who has a sheep farm, and he sells to Mexicans and Muslims, because Mexicans love sheep meat, and Muslims obviously, especially during what you call it, Ramadan. Mexicans and Muslims. Yeah, Ramadan. Yeah, that's what. Come Ramadan, they want sheep without spot or blemish. They paying top dollar. You know what I'm saying? So not only are we using this for us, but we also need to continue to get income and stuff like that. So we're gonna have to have an entity to where we can sell things and we can use the profits to then better the group. You know? It's gonna take a unit. It's gonna take a unit. It's almost 6, and I haven't seen nobody pulled up yet. Who is that? Is that Abdir? I would hope we doing ourselves. That's alone is not out of the realm of possibility, but me personally, I don't think that that's a good idea. Well, you are, in essence. And then if, let's say it don't get paid, people then sold things, right? It wouldn't be good. It would not be good. Now, it could happen though. Don't get it wrong, but I still don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea.
You don't pay it.
But we could pay it. We could easily pay it because I mean, all of us working, contributing, it should be able to get paid. It's just that obviously the collateral, because they don't want collateral, is gonna have to be whatever we're using the loan for. So if we use the loan to get the land, let's say we build a sanctuary for us to have servicing, tractor, whatever, we obviously gonna need a truck. All that is gonna be listed. So yeah, listed as collateral. Meaning they could take it back from us if we don't pay. That includes the land. So upon getting it, like I said, it could be done. Right? A loan could be done and we could pay it back in essence. But I really, and then too, when you get a loan, you have to take into consideration credit. So depending on what we decide to do, whether we're going to do it in a person's name or in an entity's name, you have to have the built up credit to get approved for a loan. You can apply for as many loans as you want. If they don't approve it, then it don't matter. And so they're going to approve it based off of credit history, et cetera, which will make it even difficult, especially if we were to use an entity, because we wouldn't have any credit. We would have to build it up, and that take time. So I'm not against it, but I don't think it's a good idea. And then too, I think us raising the money would prove that we're serious before taking out a loan and then having to be forced to be serious. Us raising the money shows that we're serious. Not at all.
So what? You are Yankees.
But nah, the pro would be that it could be acquired pretty quick if we got approved. We wouldn't get approved with an entity though. We would have to do a person. Whoever has good credit and listed, those people will be listed as signers and co-signers to ensure that the loan will get paid, and then they're just all the responsibility as far as the loan will be on those people. So if it don't get paid, the rest of the group wouldn't have to worry about that. But the people who, if it's one person or if it's a couple people, whatever, that's going to affect their credit. But in essence, that it could be gotten quicker. But with an entity, we wouldn't be able to do that with a foundation or not, because you have to build up the credit first. They're not just gonna, you come up with, you just start a business, you're trying to get a business loan. Now, again, because that's another thing too that I didn't mention. The foundation or the nonprofit is still going to have members who are a part of it. So whoever the member is that is within the foundation or whatever, they can draw credit for the foundation from the credit of the member, but that would be them doing it from the person's Social Security. So it would still come back to the individual themselves. That's the only thing about that. Yeah. Like if I have let's say I have a business, okay, and I want to buy something using my EIN instead of my social, okay? But let's say I haven't built up business credit. They could use my social to replace my business, and I could build up credit like that. But it would still be under my social's name, not the business name. Because if I just do it strictly through the business, they wouldn't give it to me. depending on how much it is. Now, if it's a small loan, they probably would. But we talking about getting land. You're talking about easy, you know, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're not just gonna give that to a company just starting out. There's no way. Not even close. Now they'll do that with houses, but there's an incentive for them to do that with houses because what happens if they give me a loan and my social security with my social security number for a house? If I don't pay, not only do they keep the money that I paid for mortgage, they get the whole house. And houses don't depreciate in value. They appreciate, meaning the house costs more money, right? Your house, this house today, right, is worth more than it was 10 years ago. That's not because the house is better. That's because the value of the dollar has been decreasing. So it's a lot of stuff that's going on. But like I said, I don't even, me personally, I think that it's better for us to raise the money because it, again, proves that we're serious and not go that route at all. But if, like I said, we can't cancel out nothing because we don't have nothing. You know? I mean, just being honest. I wouldn't cancel it out, but I don't think it should be the priority. Knocked out.
Yeah, she got on.
Knocked out.
She finally, look, now she wanna go to sleep.
Well, I'm about to start the Zoom call. So I'm gonna get off the live. Let me see something right here. For those of you who are on the live who would like to Zoom in, because I made a Zoom call for some of the brothers who live out of town, who were interested in having this discussion. Just send me a message right quick to my phone, and I could link you into the Zoom. I'll give you the link to the Zoom, and you could do that. Those of you who are on the call who have the Zoom link already, I'm about to start it. So, yeah. All right, well, I'm going to end the live now, and y'all just, like I said, let me know if you need the Zoom link. So shalom to everyone on the call, or on the live.